And Legion now probably going to make some swaps thrown out. Obviously not going to be rolling out on that. Going to be playing 3-3 themselves here for the mirror matchup. So it is a 3-3 versus 3-3, but with Nishik on the Ana, because they wanted to have that extra flexibility if possible. And for Legion, they want to try to win this fight very fast. Use the extra damage, use the extra focus that they have with the Xin. Try to win the fight extremely quickly, because the longer it runs, the closer Phase 2 gets to Nano. And that's a wicked addition for that first fight.
Trying to take this aggressively. Nishik, though, punishing Lude. Already down. Phase 2 totally healthy after that. Stand 1, gets a charge on the Sox, pays for it with his life. Still not a bad pickoff, but even Sox being down, Phase 2 for next fight, probably going to have to retreat a little bit further back once they finish off the last few remaining members of Legion in their backline.
I mean, they're going to be able to be fine because they get the taxi. They get the stagger kills on the Legion, so they're going to have to wait for them to respawn anyways. So Phase 2 can definitely just reset, be perfectly reset in time for this upcoming fight. Nishik, 50% to that Nano, actually currently getting outbuilt by A10 on that grab. I mean, already 72% for A10, so very fast grab build here for A10.
Legion once more, going through the middle, not really a lot of nuance here. Trying to play it straight up, Phase 2, fighting back and actually doing a little bit better in the neutral game to start things out here. Danzo under pressure, drops the Shatter, gets nothing. Stand 1, drops the Shatter, also gets nothing. Both Ryan shattering a bunch of shields. Stand 1, gonna fall after his attempt. Graviton in, Danzo moving forward off the Nano. Nano fades, but still, Ryan advantage versus no Reinhardt, and Phase 2 just walking into the Legion.
Phase 2, they're just out sustaining in this fight. They're getting that early grab as well, forcing the trance. And Legion, they haven't found any success so far. Dalton, he's gotten his first grab, but A10's already 30% to another. The real question here is, can they get in and get this grab out without Pika denying it? Because if they can, there's no support ult for Phase 2. It's all about Dalton here.
Phase 2, holding back, shield already used. Graviton pulling into the bomb, coming out to cover it, and it's a nice bomb from Pika, well timed to save his team after the grab coming in for the Legion. And this is getting a little bit tough for the Legion, I'd say.
So they use the grab, but really just trade for the bomb. They lose the fight, and now Legion, the ult economy is going to be tough. However, I'll take the trance. I'll take the trance over the Nano, but A10's already built another grab here. The grab's going to be available, so Legion are going to have to save these support ults for this grab unless Emil can get the eat. And then after that, it's Anyman's game, because if the grab goes out, if they're able to hit the ante, they're going to force the beat from Bloody there as well.
A10 very charged up. Beat can be out early, A10 dropping the grab, and the follow through immediately there.
The trance too late as well, there's already 2 members down.
And the trance was late, but it was also just crazy high focus fire from Phase 2. Roof did not have much of a window to transcend to save the team.
I definitely think that's a scenario where you might just want to try to save your trance if you commit to the fight. Now they've used bomb, they've used trance. They don't have either of those ults in the upcoming fight. Once again, we're looking at Dalton here to be the difference maker for Legion. We're looking at Dalton to try to get a grab that can find some value. They know that Phase 2 does not have any support ults. They have a beat as well to look for the engage. They don't have to feel the bomb nearly as much.
Final opportunity here for the Legion. This could be a quick king throw. Phase 2 taking initiative, moving forward. Danz is down! Danz, focus fire down. Dalton returning fire. The Graviton is in. And it's going to be the Legion getting point A just as time was about to run out. Phase 2, they had a real chance of taking that as well. I just think they got a little over-aggressive.
So good punish there from Legion. You see Dalton moving forward with Stand 1 with the shield. Going to look to get the spam, try to build towards another grab. As Phase 2 are getting those early spawns, so they can fight very close with the choke here. They have bomb, they have shatter. It's a very good synergy between the two. Just try to focus on the shield to set up that bomb. Maybe set up Dan. So the boop shatter there coming out from Legion.
Speaking of shatters, Dan shatter on the other side. Emo on the ground. Emac coming out as a result of that. And this library, not for Eden this time around. Phase 2 can get the better of the fight. They're still going deeper. A10 holding on to the grab. They could use it for cleanup before they get back in the spawn. They're chasing, and they get the Zarya. A little bit more.
Definitely a scenario where you don't want to use the grab there, considering the position that they had and how much the health advantage they had. So Phase 2, they're setting up here for the spawn camp. This is it. The spawn camp, it's been so long since we've seen it here on King's Row, but we're back again. Phase 2 going to be holding close, looking to just drop this grab from the high ground, try to catch them on the rotation. A lot of poke coming in here as well.
A10 with the great positioning here to the back. They don't even see it coming. Graviton forcing out the Transcendence immediately. from Wolf. So grab the Transcendence trade. Rally gonna be in for phase 2. Emil dropping the bomb to the back, looking for disruption. Phase 2 gonna shrug it off with a barrier of their own. Dance game boots bopping around, but here's a Transcendence to support ult advantage of the phase 2. They can take the fight to Legion, and they're gonna do just that. Stand 1, falling immediately. With the right advantage, phase 2, they can bring this immediately back to spawn.
Phase 2 bunny hopping these support ults so well right now, keeping the team alive. Legion just have not been able to find the opening that they need just yet. Their focus fire has not been able to catch anyone in phase 2. They're still holding on to the spawn camp. A minute left for Legion on this offense, and they're getting close, oh so close to another grab here, which is such a good tool. They can just set up Bomb Shatter as well, because Legion, they have to walk underneath it. They're going to have to use the cooldowns early, trade the shield health just for the position.
48 seconds left, and Lude just gets smacked back of the head. Stand 1 drops the Shatter, knocks down Sox, but the cover is there. The Graviton is in. Legion is dying behind their own spawn point.
And for Legion, they haven't really made a swap. I'm surprised they haven't tried to make a swap here to break the spawn camp earlier, maybe someone to pressure the point. But it's tough because how close the actual cart is. They can't just play Sombra and have him with this behind.
Shatter. Early charge from Danz, catches Lude again. 6 on 5. Danz taking spot, goes to the Shatter, interrupted out of the Shatter, does not hit the ground, and yet left.
It's fine, water's down, there's no rally available for Legion. They're currently just waiting for Lude to get back. They need to have the beat, they need to get this beat. And just as important to get this grab here, their sustain is low, they need something to finish up these kills.
Well, they've already lost Emil, he had the touch of payload. And they might not have time for Lude to build the beats. 10% is a long way for Lucio. Stand 1, isolated and down. And this hold on second. Talk about something brutal. In from phase 2. Lude does build up the beat, but a little bit too late.
Now it's just full cleanup there. Dan's dropping the Shadow under Wolf. No Trance gonna be up. Emil won't get the bomb. And Legion, they have just been spawn camp. Look at the cart. Look at the cart, ZP. It's back at the starting position. It's rolled all the way back. My goodness, what a pummeling we just witnessed.
They got manhandled.
They all sorts of handled. They have more handles than they have anything else. I mean, it's done. If it was done for Legion, that is a brutal spawn camp.
I mean, if you're going down a list of where you rate that in beatdowns, we're about 2 notches away. No, 1 notch away from the Jim Ross. By God, they have a family. That was just crushing, is what we saw.
So Legion, there still is a win condition for them, especially if they get a first hold. But my goodness, that was a brutal spawn camp. Legion, they definitely could have made some moves to try to break that, make some swaps here. And they just felt funneled. They felt funneled into their comp. They couldn't get the value for their ults either in those big ult fights.
No.
Don't you do it, AIDS. And he's like, it's time to bring it out.
Why would I play a hero with 1 gun when I can play a hero with 2?
He's coming back.
Can't be stopped.
So Legion here are going to be on this defense. They do still have a win condition. They are playing just the full 3-3 setup here once again with Wolf on the Ana.
Please make this a thing. Please, please, please.
I doubt that this is what phase 2 is going to be playing. I highly doubt it.
Give the people what they want. Don't ruin this. We need... No! Alright, well, I'm sad. You can take over the rest of the match. It's fine.
Are they going to be keeping Pika on this Batiste? I feel like it wouldn't make any sense. No, it is not. Okay, so they're going to swap full 3-3. We'll have Nishik there on the Zen. So when you look at this matchup between the two, it's all about that damage, the focus fire that Nishik can bring here. Can they win this fight early before Wolf gets the nano?
Nishik taking a lot of damage early, but already watered down! Water overextending, picked off by phase 2. Phase 2 still in very good health here. Dan's getting healed back up. Devastating. Point A, already going to go the way of phase 2. And somehow, I don't think Legion's going to repeat the spawn camp.
Legion, they're going to come back in for another fight here. They would probably like to do this before the point is capped. They have the nano.
Yeah, they're going to nano slam on me. Oh, the shatter from Dan's! What a response! Nano boost, not going to save you from that. And phase 2, payload's moving, 5.5 minutes to go. A very, very short trip. It'd still take you about 2 hours in LA traffic.
Legion also don't have forward spawns, so they will. It's going to be tough for them to get back here in time. You see how aggressive A10 is holding. If A10 can get this grab, I don't think Legion can touch. I don't think it's possible at all. It won't matter if there's a grab or not. They get the boop.
What? Nope.
Nope.
They touched for a moment.
That's it. That's map. Oh my goodness.
They got slapped.
My goodness. That has been a while since we've seen a true spawn camping like that. And I have to say, it's... Whew. You have to take a breather. You're going to have to take a breather after that one.
I mean, that's the type of thing, if you're playing a competitive ladder match, that's where you're going down the list and going, avoid his teammate, avoid his teammate.
Elite voice. You know, the classic.
Elite voice, yeah.
So it was rough for Legion. They definitely could not find the value they needed on this offense in particular. They just could not break the hold that FaZe 2 had. They didn't really try to swap to get any sort of alternate pressure, and they didn't win the ult fights. They didn't win any of the big ult fights that took place either. And so FaZe 2, they just said, why don't we just keep walking forward and holding the spawn? It's sort of the time-proven strategy, and it worked exactly there for them.
I really have only one criticism of FaZe 2 for King's Row here, which is that, why be cowards? You had the Reaper locked in. You had plenty of time, not far to go, and you just choose to win the map in a normal, standard dominating way. You could have run the Reaper. Why do you do this? Run more Reaper. Just because.
No, don't listen to ZP. Don't listen to ZP there, but FaZe 2 looking very strong after King's Row, incredibly strong, and one of the most brutal spawn camps we've seen in a while. Legion, and now the question is, can they sort of readjust themselves mentally? Can they get themselves back on track here? Because that is a pretty demoralizing map loss. The series is by no means over for them, but basically looking pretty in control.
I mean, the mental, putting it back together after something like that is certainly difficult. I mean, you have mental boom, and then you have mental Yellowstone super volcano. And that was more the latter.
That's an Alenda score. That's definitely an Alenda score. We forgot about how to get out of spawn, says Legion. So FaZe 2 going to be carrying this momentum forward, and Legion hoping that they can sort of bring it back. As we get to our fourth map, it will be Dorado, as both squads are just getting ready to get in here. And Dorado, another map, especially when you get to last and first, that you can play some wonkier compositions in terms of, especially if you want to utilize the Batiste, which FaZe 2 has been shown they do like to.
Or Reaper.
Or Reaper. I mean, maybe not Reaper. Maybe not.
I'm just going to continue the derail things here just because of that Paris. What a game. What a game.
What a game indeed. So just waiting for both squads to get in. And really, I guess to go back to what the value to the spawn camp here is that when you're getting spawn camped in this mirror matchup so hard, it's sort of the scenario where you just have to eco push. You sort of have to just save up your ult and eco push for one fight so you're sure you can get out because they just weren't finding openings, or swap. But the problem with swapping in that scenario, instead of just going Sombra Ghost or something like that, is that because of how close the cart was to the spawn, you couldn't really effectively have a back tap, which is sort of the value there for FaZe 2 aggression, is that they denied Legion the chance to even swap to a Sombra and get a back cap going.
No, and as they kept up the pressure, the cart just kept going further and further back. But we are here in Dorado. This is still a winnable series for the Legion, and it feels so long ago, but they did look good. Back on control. Mechanically speaking, Legion, they have a lot of talent on their team, but just the breakdown from map 2 to the just absolute disaster on map 3, something has gone very wrong here to where the Legion are underperforming pretty heavily relative to FaZe 2, where FaZe 2's also stepped it up quite a bit, but this is a gap that just developed in the middle of the series.
I mean, FaZe 2 have stepped it up, I think, and I think it's definitely maybe an underperformance from Legion, but the reality is like, I really liked FaZe 2's trajectory so far this season. I think they have a lot of potential within the squad. And so it's not really the hugest upset for me necessarily if this does end up being a FaZe 2 victory. And look at where Sox is currently holding. They're running a Batiste here, they're running a triple support, but no Brigitte, and Sox.
Oh, goodbye!
Okay, well, I was wondering to see how that panned out. They were likely going to use the Immortality field just to contest the cart even longer. But FaZe 2 trying to set up this very aggressive hold. They are biding time off the clock, but they are down a decent amount of heals, a decent amount of utility right now.
That was an efficient rocket, is what I gotta say. That's like a custom blast. That was just one rocket.
They still haven't removed FaZe 2 either. They still have not been able to move them from this cart. There's a lot of time being burned.
Time being burnt, but you know what'd be helpful here? Heals, Immortality Field, either around as water just devastating from the top. It started with the 1 rocket, 1 kill on the Batiste, and then many rockets, many kills onto the bulk of their team.
Now Sox is going to be able to escape, is going to be up on this Widow now in phase 2, looking at this comp. When they see that Legion was playing, they were actually initially playing a very different comp, but now Legion going to a 2-2-2 setup with keeping Stand 1 on the Hammond. Dalton, he's behind, he's ready, he's looking to set up this early EMP.
Water moving in, Barrage, ready to go. Ground Para in action, and Ground Barrage, well, backfires to a degree. Gets A10, but not much else. Sox, meanwhile, for the defense, and Widow gonna go to the high ground. Phase 2 tries to put together the remnants of a defense. A heavy dive from the Legion, though, doing work, and look out! Water Genji on the way.
But with that dive from Stand 1 and the follow-up from Dalton, they have been able to get those backline kills that they needed. The Valkyrie going to be invested for Lede along with the Nano Boost as well. I mean, they're just committing all these ults just to ensure that they keep this fight, they win it right off the bat. And so Legion taking first. It looked a little bit messy at times, but a very good coordination between Stand 1 and Dalton. Phase 2 going to be keeping on this comp. It's the full dive. I mean, we have a dive versus dive setup here.
We've gone back in time. It's not even 2-2-2 time yet.
Not just yet. Phase 2 going to look for this Rika test. No big ults up for Legion now as Lede swaps to the Lucio. It's just going to be a bomb. So definitely a real potential for them if they can just remove that bubble early for Dans. They can look to set up the bomb defensively or aggressively, whichever one they do choose, because Phase 2, they're coming up on a lot of ults. And even any of these ults really can disrupt all of the Legion, sort of stop that cart time.
Dalton, look at the early pickup on the Dans, and now Phase 2 on the receiving end of their own medicine here as Legion continue the snowball, just stagger after stagger for Phase 2. Not even a real fight. Water getting dangerously close to a blade.
And this is definitely looking like Legion are feeling a lot more comfortable on this composition than anything else earlier in the series. It's allowing them to play the heroes they're very, very comfortable with. Water on that Genji going to be close to this blade. And Phase 2, they have to reach to this point. They have double support to survive the blade, but the EMP is out. Doesn't really catch either supports though.
So man, EMP, Legion get 2 immediately. Water, still going to use the blade and
this
wants
was not
one
necessary.
fight, basically. But all right,
doesn't matter, right? Just cleaning it up. And Legion now with this dive, Phase 2 have not been able to have a single fight yet. They have really not been able to have a fight yet on second. Legion might just be swapping here for last, which is very possible.
I think the true move for Phase 2 here is to swap A10 to the Reaper and give up the EMP entirely.
No, I don't think
that's the just Giga Brain.
I definitely don't.
That you're not considering at the moment.
That is the Nano Brain. That is the Nano Brain move. The Pico Brain, as they would say.
Well, they're gonna use the EMP. Strikes 2. Lude, danger as a result, ends up falling, but the rest of the fight's still going well for the Legion. The EMP does not do enough. And the Legion is going to continue to keep things rolling as Phase 2 looking boom tier to a degree. Danzo, a little bit of stability off the Primal.
I mean, they're still not stopping cart, though. They're still not stopping cart. The cart is continuing to move. Phase 2, they just need to swap. They need to get a Rhine. Yes, they need to get the Rhine. They swap A10 onto the Zarya here. So no more Sombra either versus this comp, which I think is a smart move. They can stop the point. Wolf on the Moira here. And I'm interested to see if Legion want to stick with Wolf on the Moira versus this Zen setup. It's tough to get consistent value. Though with the EMP, they find that Zen very early.
Email at the fall through the bomb with 2. And the Legion are speed running Phase 2. I want to talk about a statement of, hey, we actually would like that map 5. This is it.
Legion remembering how to be aggressive again. I mean, realistically, that's the biggest difference now between Legion before, is that they're just taking these initiations. They're actually just taking the fights aggressively. They're using their ults properly. There's the beat. Vanessa Verlede is Phase 2, or slowly but surely they have to come back out in A10. He's on the Reaper. Here he is again.
It's done. Phase 2. They're showing the true form. He's taking down the Sombra. He's hungry for more. He's healed up. Brawling here on the carts. Legion falling back against this menace with 2 shotguns. And he's gone. It's over. Reaper is done.
However, the fight is by no means over yet because Dan's close to the Shatter and Nishik has a coalescence of himself. He can keep his team in the fight and then set up Dan's. They just need to play slow. Burn the bubble. Look to set up the Shatter. There it is.
Shatter comes in. Knocks Dan to the ground. And a bit of a pinch here, but he'll back up. A10 though. into the fight once more. Bomb from Email, making space in the payload. Dan's having to shield it off. And A10 just walking.
Oh, the raid boss. The raid boss. He has 2 guns. How do you beat him? He's got 2 guns. Too much damage. He teleports in.
He's 2 guns.
He's in the back line.
He's in the back. The Death Blossom is ready.
He can't use it right now. He can't. Okay,
oh, he does.
Well, definitely.
He immediately dies.
Definitely not that one. I don't know what they're thinking.
Took his own advice. Dan 1 off the Primal. Just barely able to get away. The Legion, they were threatening for a bit, but phase 2, off of the valiant sacrifice of 1 lone Reaper.
So far, Legion still can't finish these frags. I mean, they just can't finish these frags right now. They need to swap stand 1 off the Winston right now. They need the Winston to be gone. It needs to be bye-bye because they cannot finish. They can't finish any of the damage. They're going to have a Reinhardt to actually clean up the frags on point to have a finishing ult from the Shatter, and that's exactly what they're doing now. Gonna put Wolf onto the Zen here as well. So
A10 could be anywhere right now.
He could be anywhere.
When he's not on screen, he could be behind you, the viewer.
So phase 2 will probably commit to 1 more fight, I think, on this comp. I still would like to go see A10 go Zarya now. Yes, that is gonna go Zarya now. Definitely the right play here.
It's not creative at all.
Wait, he's staying?
Wait.
He decides against it?
Us out?
He decides against it because they're already in.
All right, well, he's coming back in. The age of Reaper is still upon us. He just walks at the Legion. A wall of, well, he's dead.
He's dead.
He's gone.
He's gone.
Dalton punishes him. The Legion with 2 early kills. Sand 1 with the Shatter. Back the other way. And this time, it should be the Legion finishing it out, but phase 2, to their credit, they stopped this from being a speed run.
They did. I mean, their composition choice made a lot of sense, especially when Legion's on a Moira. It's tough for them to finish out those frags early, and with standing on the Winston, they don't have a line. Phase 2, just trying to trickle in, trying to get the stall here on point. Dan's, he's back with the Shatter, doesn't find anything. And this should be clean up for Legion. They should be able to cap it with time left as well.
So, not too bad from the Legion. Obviously, point A and point B, a complete reversal of fortune from last map. Phase 2, finding their footing to an extent on last, where as much as we're making fun of the Reaper to a degree, I mean, it did buy a lot of attention. It did draw focus his way. And in the end, it was a decent part of the delay for phase 2 that now makes this map a lot more winnable.
So Legion now going to be on the defense. It was not a blazingly fast time, but for Dorado, finishing with time left is always a good thing. Dorado is a tough map to full cap. And we'll have to see how phase 2 is going to make some adjustments now to what Legion's been playing. And for phase 2, I think they have a lot in their bank. They can use triple DPS. I wouldn't be surprised if they can play some bunker here either. So definitely a lot of openings that they feel comfortable with.
Ready for battle.
The attack definitely going to be very interesting at phase 2. Likewise for the defense from Legion, where I do wonder when I look at this, where you look at the general trend in Contenders right now for maps like Dorado, and especially in defense, there's a lot more of running DPS comps on defense in the courtyard. It's super effective. In Legion, they're still going to come out here on the most standard form, or one of the more standard forms of 3-3. It's weird.
As long as they aren't losing picks, I think that's still reasonable in terms of being able to control the choke. I would also like for them to take an early fight here, rather than holding on the high ground. An early fight would make a lot more sense, especially once they get the scout on phase 2. They need to get the scout early and then call, let's hold aggressively, because you don't want to play distance. You don't want to play distance versus this double sniper and the Hog Orisa setup. You need to just take this fight aggressively, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Phase 2 might be looking for some swaps here. Yep, that's exactly what's going to be happening. Again, save this moment in your heart. You're not going to be seeing a lot of goats versus goats into the future. In fact, you're not going to be sending any at all. Overwatch League or playoffs.
After next week, you'll be seeing Overwatch League will start a little bit sooner, but after next week, there'll be nothing. They'll be gone.
So the last era of GOAT is upon us. We'll see which team can climb the hardest here. In phase 2, they're going for the long rotation to the high ground.
I think this is fine for them right now. They're trying to take this own the high ground, see if they can remove it there and set up Nishik, but Nishik slept. So also finish up that frag, and with those picks, with the sleep right now, they're definitely in a very good position just clean up here for Legion.
Phase 2 also just getting poked down. All the wiles is going on. Sure, Roof got caught, but very positive to Legion's. Lude continues to finish off the last few limbs here. Legion just go deeper. giving phase 2 a bit of a taste of their own medicine.
Wolf's just going to swap now. He's actually had the nano, but deciding just, I'd rather go Zen right off the bat here than win the next fight with the nano initially. I mean, it's a not a bad call in terms of your overall ult economy, since if you run a mirror, getting that Zen earlier is definitely better.
For winning point A outright, though, it is a little bit questionable because they only have 2.5 minutes to go, and the nano potentially could have given them a full fight, so it's risky. Danzo, ready focus fire. Sorry, shield saves him, but they still commit Transcendence anyways. They use the dive forward, Stand1 drops the shadow under pressure, puts A10 to the ground, A10 down. And the Legion just deal with the pressure pretty well, and I don't know if the Transcendence is really needed there.
I think the Transcendence would have been fine if they'd been able to find any early frags off of it, but they couldn't find anything. They could not find anything off that early Transcendence from Nishik. And now phase 2, since Wolf has come back on the Zen, he has Transcendence himself, and it's going to be looking pretty tough for phase 2 to actually get here into the point. I'm surprised they want a mirror match here and not just try to play something else.
Also, that was a one-fight build for Wolf. That was very fast.
Phase 2 moving forward, they will have the bomb shatter coming up for them very soon. They have the rally so they can enter the point, try to set up it, try to get the pressure onto Stand1 shield and just look for Pika's shatter, or Pika's bomb, I should say, or maybe even Dan's shatter. They have a lot of openings here to set it up that front line.
Well, we mentioned that Dan's is a hero that phase 2 looks to more often than not. It's him and A10. Let's see if Dan's able to find a way to pierce through Stand1 here. Goes for it. There's opportunity. They use the beat. Phase 2 dives in. Legion. They did try to disengage. They drop the grab to help with that. And the shatter from Dan's connects. Stand1 down. Wolf can use Transcendence, and they overlay the support ults to an extent for the Legion. And it's not helping them win the fight at all. Instead, the ultimates are merely drained. Phase 2 off the shatter from Dan's. They find a way through, and what a reversal of fortune.
We talked about it before, but Dan's is definitely sometimes the hero for phase 2. He makes those openings that they need. A good time burnt off the clock, though, for Legion. I think it still wasn't a bad first offense by any means. As Legion are going to look to re-engage here early. You see phase 2 looking for this rotation. They're trying to fake out. They're deciding, do they want to go high ground or do they want to play the cart? They're choosing now that they'd rather just take the fight here on the low ground. Legion, they're about to have rally. They're going to look to set up Stand1 very potentially. Stand1 doesn't need setup.
He doesn't need setup. Drops the shatter, and that's it. Getting set up would have taken time, and Stand1 has no patience for that.
Quick fight win there for Legion. You see how aggressively they're holding. I like how aggressively they're holding here. They need to make sure to continue to burn clock for phase 2. Force them to use ults just to get out of spawn. Just to take a minute to get out of the spawn.
About to have another Shadow Zone. Rally going to be used. Phase 2 using the rally. Push on out. Stand1 eating a lot of damage as it goes on. And again, they burn the Transcendence super early. Shatter comes out. Wolf going to drop the Transcendence in response later in the fight. Legion have way more of an advantage and works out real well for the Legion.
That early trance coming back to haunt phase 2 again. They don't find any picks, and then Dalton just drops the grab, and they didn't have anything to sustain through it. So Legion, they've won this fight here in spawn. They've burnt ults out of phase 2. The clock is ticking down. Phase 2 going to need to find an opening. It's likely going to be based from Pika's aggression from the bomb if they're going to have any opening at all here. They're trying to just set up that bomb in the back, force the split for Legion, maybe get a pick.
1 minute, 35 seconds left for phase 2's offense. They are still essentially stuck back at the beginning of point B. Stand1 has a shatter. Can be sneaky with it, but the bomb in over the top, heavy pressure, and Stand1 is down. That was so well executed by phase 2.
That's exactly what they needed to do there. I mean, it's like I talked about earlier, you need to use the bombs occasionally, not just for picks, but to get the split, and using that bomb to split the defense for Legion and allowing phase 2 to enter and look for the pickoffs. Now they've broken the spawn hold, they're moving the cart forward. And they do have a grab before either of Legion's support ults. But it's a very narrow margin, and there's a lot of distance for them to cover still. They don't want to invest too early because Legion can have the recontest on this point. They have to make a choice here. Going to have to look for the best possible engagement.
You see Pika's still stuck on the payload, but now close enough to help him fight. They go for the payload presence more than anything else, and this is super aggro from the Legion. They go to the ground floor, start things out. Phase 2, they leap off the high ground, opening with the beat, and Stand1 immediately falling. I have to question the way Legion went into this.
I think this is still okay for Legion. I mean, they're burning time off the clock. They're going to have a recontest. The question, now they have double support ult versus this grab. The real problem here for the
Stagger.
entry is the stagger. Yes, the stagger is a huge issue there. Not having Dalton there with the grab or the bubbles is going to be massive. They're going to have to potentially just burn his portal just to get in.
But they're going to go for the bomb.
Grab Eden!
Grab Eden! Email all over it. Shatter. Coming on in. Dance to the ground. Dance counter Shatter. And Pika with the follow through. Phase 2 will not be denied. It's in overtime, but point B soon to be theirs. And we'll see just how point C goes. Legion nursing a 25-second lead, but it might not be for long.
This is still a very reasonable defense for second as well for Legion, though. They have to burn most of their ults for that point, but now they're going to move back in here. They still have Grav. They know Nishik does not have Transcendence just yet. Legion's win condition here should just be to use this grab to win a fight. Win a fight, continue more time off the clock, and build up more of their ults.
Legion once more heavily prioritizing the objective, taking the fight directly on the payload. We're turning around, Pika in danger. The Graviton well set up. Legion gonna take the fight. And now no matter what, phase 2, they're gonna fish this on overtime or not at all. If it's not at all, we go map 5.
That's a good engage for Legion. Using that grab effectively, they made sure to poke out Pika so he wasn't in position to set up to eat that grab at all. Now you see this aggressive hold. They even get the stagger there onto Pika. So this very aggressive hold once again from Legion, trying to get some poke. And there's a scenario where they can actually commit to this upcoming fight. They have the ultimate advantage. They have the positional advantage here. You see all this shield
And
pressure.
one off the top rope immediately dives in. Shatter ready. Shatter connects. Nishik and Dan's danger. Dan's counter Shatter. This time getting nothing. Legion. High aggression. Really favoring them here, Avast.
Wolfie pops the Transcendence there just to counter the beat. Legion, they're continuing to get them this pressure. They're continuing to find these frags. They're going to deny the energy for A10. There's only 2 seconds left. Can phase 2 even touch? The answer is no, and we're going to map 5.
Here's how crazy of a turnaround this was between map 3 and map 4. If you had blanked out all the names on Dorado, all the team names, etc., I would have guessed that Legion was phase 2 and vice versa. So clearly the Legion feeling a lot more comfortable in Dorado, and now we go back to Control. Let's not forget, Legion won Control pretty handily earlier in the series, so all that momentum that phase 2 is working with, it's gone.
Legion finally just harnessing their aggression, which is really the key, for especially in a 3-3 mirror. The most important factor in terms of determining can you take control, can you take the tempo, is aggression. Is using aggression calculated, making sure to burn time off the clock whenever you can, make the enemy use ults to get out of their spawn by holding very aggressively. So Legion remembering some of those fundamentals there for the 3-3 and what's so important in that matchup, in that mirror matchup for them. And like you talked about, and like we saw earlier, Control is where Legion looked very strong earlier in this series. Phase 2 now, they have to be sweating.
Very much so, and look, I mean, maybe the secret was May just went around and removed the S keys from every keyboard and just said, hold W, entire time.
And sometimes you laugh and you're like, you know, that's really funny, but the reality is sometimes players just need a reality check. It's like, why are you, as Super has said, why are you scared of this team? Just go forward, play aggressively, use your ult when you see the opportunity to, and make sure to give them no free space. And sometimes players just need a reminder, especially if they've had a really jarring game where their mental's a little bit, you know, removed or shattered even.
Who would have thought that the son of Mr. Delisi could sometimes be so wise?
We'll have to see if that remains to be actually true. I mean, you know, even a broken clock is right twice a day.
So the Legion come roaring back in. And if they win, it's going to be old school Fusion University style victory of just win 2 Control and 1 of the remaining 3.
Roger's getting ready for both squads to get into the lobby, get ready to set up. On our 5th map of the series, Phase 2, Legion tied up 2-2 now. And it's the battle for the 5th and 6th seeds respectively now in this division for NA. It's the battle for who can definitely find the 5th and 6th seed, because obviously the higher the seed, the better. You don't want to be 6th seed, because the 6th seed, you're going to have to play a very tough opponent early. 5th seed, you get a little bit better chance.
Seeding very important when you get into the playoff phase here, particularly given the reward here for Contenders Season 2, where as the last Contenders season for the year, it leads into the Gauntlet.
And the Gauntlet is currently what all the Contenders teams are working towards. And even if Fusion Union Korean Contenders does not necessarily make the Gauntlet now at this rate that they're going, and you know they've been definitely struggling over there. At the Atlantic Showdown, they gave NA 4 spots at the Gauntlet before exiting the region. And so for all these teams, there's lots of spots up for grab for NA.
Although that does get a little bit intimidating when we go, Fusion University, the best of us that won the Atlantic Showdown, how are they doing right now?
Not good. not too good.
Not great. That's a subject for another time. We're here in Map 5, Phase 2, versus the Legion. We'll see if the Legion can keep the momentum from Dorado a map ago.
And you see this mirror matchup for both squads here again. The Phase 2 already going back to spawn, going to do this some hero chest, going to swap to the 3-3 now, remove that Sombra. Probably put Nishik. Are they going to keep Nishik here on the Moira? It looks like they are going to keep Nishik on the Moira. Well, Legion, they've done their own. Actually, they haven't done any of their own counter swaps. They're still staying on the same comp they started out with.
So Phase 2 hoping the swaps work in their favor. They're able to get to point. And Legion gonna get bullied out here to a degree. They don't really have the ability to force Ryan off. Not this Winston style comp. And if they try it, Stand 1's gonna fall. Stand 1 goes in, immediately gets chunked down to half. And this is so favorable for Phase 2 right now. They get first control.
Legion is 60% though to the EMP. It is building. So part of the reason why it's so tough for them to even stay on the point is not only just because they don't have a line, is also that they don't have a D.Va to really give Stand 1 any of that extra, or not rather a D.Va, but rather a Zarya to give Stand 1 that extra presence, that extra damage. Well, now Stand 1
they have it.
Swap. Now they're going to make the swap. They're going to move on to this in. So a lot more damage going to be available here for Legion. They'll keep Dalton on that Sombra. He is 70% towards the EMP.
But the hero chess shenanigans for Phase 2 have done wonders for them here. It's put the Legion very far behind. And look at this, early initiation for Phase 2.
Oh, great boot from left. They're able to find water there, gets moved into the team.
EMP under pressure from the Legion. Dalton taking a risk here, and it pays off. They get 2 from it. Don't always see the EMP while down members, and Legion says, you know what, this is a good opportunity, and they were right.
And one's going to be picking up those frags. Wolf, he's under pressure, going to find that armor pack from water. And even with Sox investing in the rally, it's going to burn a little bit of time off the clock, but it definitely was not a winnable fight in that scenario. So I bet Phase 2 wish they would have it for this upcoming fight. Almost 60% already for Phase 2 on the control bank. And now Legion, you look at their ult bank, they definitely can just play fast. They can, realistically, the Coalescence is not going to be a big threat to them. They just need to build towards that grab.
Famous words said before 3 eliminations, Nishik, one after the other after the other. But first off, we got the bottom for Pika, in or the top. Let's shrug it off. Into the barrier. Stand 1 drops the Shatter, does not get anything. Dan's a Shatter of his own, gonna drop it, puts Emo to the ground. They get Emo would be big. Emo very close to getting grabbed, but they get healed up. The rally helping out tremendously. The Graviton out of Tina and Pika all over the grab. And the Graviton for Phase 2, gonna connect on the other side. Brigida down immediately. Phase 2, they lose Dan. Stan's not gonna be able to drop the Shatter. Now Stand 1 builds up another Shatter mid-fight, drops it. Again,
locked
gets
again.
Nothing.
I mean, right now, Phase 2, they have a very high sustain. They have yet another Coalescence, their second of this fight. But it's taken them so long to get this flip. Slowly but surely, though, they are getting it. And Legion, they took a lot of time. They've taken a lot of time here off the clock. And this is sort of the weakness for Phase 2, is that it takes them a long time to finish up kills when they're playing the Moira rather than a Center Ana, because they just don't have that focus fire potential. They don't have a nano to allow someone to do an incredible amount of damage during the fight.
And the problem is that I don't think Nishik has any time to swap and float his way back over on his end or slowly walk his way as Nana. So over another, it's just Moira.
They have to commit, and I think they just need to take this fight very fast, too. They need to take this fight fast. If they play slow, Wolf gets the Transcendence. Their usage, all their healing abilities is going to be slowly used.
Dance steps up, knocks down 2 again. And they have to use the beat. The Shatter for beat trade, beneficial, but the EMP back the other way makes the fight so easy for the Legion. There's a big one in from Dalton. And the Legion get a recap, and it's all going to come down to one decisive final fight.
And this is a very rough spot to be in for Phase 2. Sure, they have grab, they have bomb, but they don't have defensive ults. They have no defensive ults for Emil's grab. And so they really need to make sure they're not all caught by this. They need to see maybe if they can get an early initiation first with their own grabs. And that is what they're going to do. They're going to drop the grab first.
They drop the Graviton first. To the Pika gets 2! It's set up by A10. Pika puts the fall through. They denied Blude on the boot. Phase 2 now just rolling into the Legion. They're going to get the recap, and Legion's not going to have time for a full recontest.
Water staying alive there is huge. It does give a chance for Legion to still be in this fight, but Phase 2, they're owning the point. Their focus fire is so strong. Dalton, he's going to be there. He doesn't have EMP.
They want to shatter.
It's still done, though. They can't finish it. They just can't finish it. They don't have the damage right now. Phase 2, they have a beat. And for Legion, it really just came down to a great engage for Phase 2. Phase 2 dropping that grab early, using Pika's bomb to finish off those frags. Way to capitalize there off of Legion being a little far up.
Legion's still delaying, but it is very likely all for naught. Shatter, and a whip from Dan's. Ball just a little bit evasive. All in the end. But Phase 2, they get the clamp they're looking for. They're 1 round away from dispatching the Legion. And it feels like whatever was going on in Dorado, they got out of their heads.
A10 and Pika definitely been huge difference makers along with Dan so far for Phase 2, so especially on the mirror matchup.
Uh-oh.
And now it looks like they're looking to roll out on the triple DPS for Phase 2.
Why play the
Ash?
Ash?
Solo tank. I think the Ash is fine for the long range of this point.
But it's 1 gun. He could be playing a hero with 2
but
guns.
If you get Bob, you have 3 guns. Oh wait, no, Bob only has 1. That's right. Bob only has 1 gun. No, it's still 1. Still 2.
Yeah, so I mean, I was
2.
giving you credit for a moment.
No, it gets the 2. It gets the 2 guns when you get Bob.
I mean, that's fair.
I don't know if he has a second gun on his wrist, but if he does, he doesn't use it, so it's still only 2 there technically, so it equals out.
Well, it'd be too much power. He has to fight one hand time behind his back.
So Legion, see they're playing this Moira dive composition with Dalton on the Sombra. Gonna look at to take an early aggression fight, try to deny the space here. But the problem is that when Pika's on the Mei, it's very tough for their tanks to get in to actually lock off this space.
They get Blude down immediately, but they lose Ash, who's a centerpiece of this entire composition. Now it's down to Ice and Fire between Fox and Pika. Pika gonna fall. And that's just not the opening you want when you're running this. If you're running the Ash and you're trying to support the Ash, it's one hero that can't follow, and here we go! It's time.
There's the Reaper, he's back. Lep also finds this res. So Phase 2, they're still in this fight. It's tough for Legion to effectively just finish this out, especially while that Nano's down on the Dans. They're moving towards the point slowly but surely.
Well, the Nano is out. Supercharger and A10 with 2! He teleported to the back. They never saw him coming. And he makes it 3. The elbow of doom. The elbow of destiny. He just keeps throwing elbows.
And with that Supercharger now, Phase 2, they've re-entered the point. Great use of those ults so they can stay in the fight. The res for Lep being crucial there so they can continue and sustain. Now Legion, they're going to have to look to recontest with the Sombra, with the EMP. But the thing is that as long as Lep hits that Valkyrie before that EMP comes out, then they're in a really good spot to still stay alive. See Lep pop that Valkyrie.
Reaper under pressure. It took an army to bring him down. However, this means Legion is on a 6v5. Dalton uses the EP. And the Legion just roll back onto that point. Not really worried about either the ice nor the fire.
You'd have to commit a lot of ults there for Legion, but they're very happy to get the flip from a comp like that. Off that isolation on A10 extremely early. I think this is where Phase 2, they might have to reevaluate their comp because it takes them so long just to get into the point, and that's what they're doing. They're putting Lep now onto the Lucio and Nishik onto the Moira, so they can survive this dive still, but they're going to be a little bit faster getting into the point.
Still keeping the Torp May. The self-destruct used for a turret. As the Legion just try and take the fight super aggressively over and in, and okay, well, Death Blossom got pooped away.
He just got primaled away there. They tried to set it up with the halt, but they just pooped him away there. One of the weaknesses there of Reaper and the Death Blossom is that you can just poop him away, and he's not quite as effective. But Phase 2, they have managed to enter the point. They're starting to get that contest.
Another bit of pressure. Stand 1 diving pretty deeply into Phase 2. Supercharger about to fall. Does not get the value they want. Stand 1 is able to just move away. In Phase 2, they're having real struggles getting anyone down really here at all. I'm just not sure the Mei Torb is the play here, but A10 finds Stand 1. Rotating from the back. Reaper's just waiting for this very moment for the fight to break down a little bit more, but just too many people have fallen.
I mean, right now there is some zoning lava here on the point, but it's going to dry up A10. He's walking forward. He's trying to get onto Wolf. He needs to get healed, though. He's about to get potentially picked up in the back line. And for phase 2, they're playing slow. They're playing around A10. They're trying to keep him alive. And so far, the strat's working. The Blizzard's out.
Well, the Blizzard is going to buy so much space to the point that they should get the reflip, but Legion have not been defeated even in this fight yet. It's a long way to go. And that's Blossom.
Oh,
That's the expected result there. That's Blossom from a D.Va just usually doesn't end very well.
Left clean up in the back line, not even able to drop that beat, so they won't have it. You see for Legion, they're just playing slow. Gonna pick up Dan's here. The bomb is out, looking for the zone, looking for anybody. And phase 2, that should be the round going for Legion.
So it's all gonna come down likely now to one final round. A10 though still in it. This fight not over yet. Reaper good at finishing off fights. We're feeling in. Is that a boop? No, not quite. Both able to get back in. A10, D.Va, getting good damage. More respawns coming in from phase 2. They lose Socks, who's coming in the Widow. Never mind, taking a little bit of space. A10 fighting against all odds now, finally gonna fall. And now this really, truly should be it. And it is.
Phase 2, I think, needed to swap out that comp a lot sooner. When you see this dive with the Moira, it's so tough for Reaper. It's still tough for Reaper to get value. I mean, we're joking here, but the Reaper is just not going to find a lot of value there still. He gets 2 different Death Blossoms there were essentially completely negated to not get anything. They need to definitely swap a little bit sooner, go to a 3-3 or even a different triple DPS mirror.
Going for the courageous Death Blossoms where, sure, there's a D.Va right next to you. What are the odds that the D.Va looks at you and holds defensive matrix? The D.Va is thinking, no, surely the Reaper wouldn't do that. And that's where you get him. Except that you don't. A10 just died instantly both times.
Now phase 2 here. We're on our final round now for map 5, Legion, phase 2. Phase 2 playing the 3-3 standard with Nishik on that Zen, and Legion, they're playing that composition we've seen from them before with the Moira, with the dive, and the Sombra. They're likely just going to go swap immediately as soon as they see what phase 2 is running. That's exactly what they're doing. They're probably going to put stand 1 onto the Ryan. Are they going to keep Wolf on this Moira, though? Looks like they do want to, but I feel like they should just make Wolf swap as well to get like an Ana.
No, they're going for the full swap. And this is where it's all going to end. 3-3 versus 3-3. Remember this moment.
And while they were playing Hero Chess, they've given up first control, but like we talked about before, first control, it isn't the end of the world. It's about who wins this first fight.
Phase 2, trying to take initiative instead, back camp a little bit. Legion getting awfully low. Stan wants us to be careful, but while this goes on, they find Dan's. Phase 2 getting very low as a result. Rolf more than willing to clean up. Wolf well protected as it goes on. Takes down Brigida, point blank range. And Legion gonna get the reflip. This could be a close one to end out what has been a great series so far.
So Legion winning that first fight. Phase 2 just committing a little too deep, hoping to fall off that damage, but they just overextended and got punished in return. So now Legion owned the point, to be quickly equalizing that control bank. They also currently do have that ult advantage. Likely just gonna get that early rally and just pop aggressively.
Water doesn't just end. Water almost falls trying to build the rally. Emil under pressure, D-Mech super early. Shatters are out. The Dance Shatter puts Stand and Water to the ground. Wolf though, with the Transcendence. Nullifies the effects. Here comes Pika. Bomb out, it's 3!
Oh, that's such a good bomb from Pika, an incredible bomb. The Water, he had used the rally there. They had to sustain in phase 2, realized immediately that we have shield presence, we have that barrier health advantage, and we know that we need to bomb to finish up or we will not be able to clean up that frag while Water's rallying. So very, very good bomb for Pika.
Neck and neck. About to be 39-39. Next fight though, Graviton advantage phase 2. A10 doesn't waste any time. Drops the Graviton. And the fall through decisively there.
Still, that's one of the fights that Legion could be happy with losing so quickly because they get the grab out, die fast, not a lot of time lost.
Okay, they just charged up A10 for no good reason.
Legion now going to look to re-enter. They do have the grab advantage, but with phase 2 having double support ult, it's going to be a question of can they get the combo? Can they either get a split for the heals, a charge out of that Transcendence, or even an Emil's bomb? It's more of a setup here. It's a setup question for this grab.
Rolf! That's what you need for your flex support, a pick-off to give you the easy 6-on-5 Transcendence Force so early at phase 2. Dance can drop the Shatter, but this time does not connect. Graviton in from the Legion and the bomb when you gotta be sure. They're throwing a lot of ults. into this retake, but should be a retake that's theirs.
So that is going to be the point being flipped now. Good control bank for phase 2, though. Already going to have 90%. They just need one fight, one good fight here to get the flip, and they can win this map. They can win this series. Legion now are going to have to play some very perfect defense, control this choke. They know there's no shatter. They know there's no transcendence. They need to be counting for 8-10's grab. They need to be saving these for that.
8-10's grab, ready, good to go. Beat already out early from the Legion. There's going to be an opportunity for phase 2. They can sustain a little bit longer. They do just that. Rallies out. 8-10 on pursuit. He knows it. Drops the grab. 3 in. Nishik there in the fall through. And phase 2 on their way. Legion now falling on the point. 8-10 melting down the opposition. And phase 2 gets us here. This could be it. 90% to the point. The recap's going to be theirs. Now we're going to see if the Legion can go for the miracle delay.
They have one chance. They need to go onto full stall characters just to touch the point, but they're going to be walking into a bomb, walking into a shatter to isolate them, to keep them locked down, and they're not able to touch. That's phase 2. Winning the series. Bye-bye.
Phase 2. Rocking the Legion here, where the Legion are just trying to solidify their playoff hopes. And no. Disrupted in the end by phase 2, and this was a roller coaster of a series in more ways than one.
It was. I mean, you never expect to see that much Reaper played in general, and also really to see some effectiveness actually from it there on Paris. Phase 2, I mean, I think this squad still has a lot of potential. It's clear that Legion has struggled. I really in this meta in particular, where they're looking towards playoffs.
Yeah.
Now it's looking very likely that Legion, even though they're probably going to be a lower seed at this rate than phase 2 potentially, they will still be in a good position for playoffs to ensure they do get playoffs. So the meta will change the dynamic, I think, for them a lot.
Yes, I mean, you look at players like Water, where, look, he's one of the many players that's been stuck in brig jail for far too long. The keys will be given, they will be released, and I fully agree that Legion is a team that will likely perk up when they get to play 2-2-2. But here's the thing, meta shifts aren't going to change some of the weird collapses that we saw here today, where you should not get rolled anywhere near as hard as they did in Kings Row. You can shift to whatever meta you want. There's reasons to go deeper beyond mechanical execution if that's going to happen.
I mean, if you're getting spawn camp that hard, you also likely see a spawn camp with a 2-2-2 meta like that as well. You can see if you hold the doors that aggressively, and it still requires a lot of coordination and a lot of clean execution to break a spawn camp like that. And that doesn't go away no matter the meta, though. It gives you a little bit more wiggle room in terms of you can individual pop off and get a pick. And if Legion is relying on just individual pop-offs to get them further, then really that shows that it's a sign of not a very strong team, rather just strong players.
Very much so. But guys, that brings us to the end of tonight. And in case you're wondering where the standings are, that's right. Atlanta Academy, one more match away from perfection. Ultra perfect perfection. Because it's not just series wins, it's also map score. In hot pursuit, Grunto Esports in number 2. No chance of getting number 1, but also